Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jamie Lee, and I'm joined by my husband, Mr. Jared Lee. Hello, Jared.
Hello.
Here's my question. It's question time or whatever.
Okay.
I always do a question on these episodes. My question is, have you been watching the Olympics?
I have not. Other
have
than when
not.
you guys have had it on, I can't say that I have. I don't know what it is. I remember as a kid, I was really plugged into it, but I just haven't. I haven't as much.
Well, that's sad because it's been amazing. It's been an amazing Olympics so far. I'm very much into women's gymnastics, which is not a shock because I think I've talked about it before.
You have. I can't say that it dropped. There was one year that I liked women's gymnastics.
Was it when Shawn Johnson?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
That was a while ago, Jared.
Right, but
Okay.
I can't say that I know much. I mean, yeah, there's not really. Although there has been a couple of memes like the Turkish guy who won the shooting competition who just looked like a dad that like. By the way,
He looked like a hitman.
I think I'm pretty sure that guy's a hitman. If I'm being honest, I'm like that guy. The backstory here doesn't quite add up.
He had no protective gear.
They're like, would you like any sort of things? Every athlete here used them. You're like, I'm good. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That was pretty crazy.
That guy's frightening. That's like you just go, okay, sir. I'm just gonna go way over here.
But yeah, gymnastics I'm really into. Swimming has been really good for US. Track and field I haven't watched too much of because I've been watching a lot of gymnastics. But yeah, lots of good. I love Summer Olympics.
I was unaware that 3-on-3 basketball was an Olympic sport.
Apparently it is. And 4-on-4 too.
4-on-4?
I'm pretty sure I saw 4-on-4 the other day.
I feel like, I mean, I'm not trying to boast my own horn, but I feel like 3-on-3, I got a shot at the team. I don't know. It's half court. You don't have to run the whole way. I feel like it's just, obviously you don't have to deal with like LeBron James and those guys. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like maybe I could, I'm not saying maybe USA, but I feel like maybe I go to like another country, like go over there. I might be able to make a 3-on-3 team.
Listen, I still remember the first time you told me that you could make the Olympic team in shuffleboard.
No, it was curling.
Curling.
No, what I said was if I dedicated 6 months of my life to nothing but curling, that I could get to Olympic level for curling now maybe I'm overstating my abilities. I feel like I could do, at the very least, I could be the sweeper person. Like I feel like I could get to that level, but it would have to be 6 months of just nothing but that. And I don't know if the payoff would be quite there, but
I understand.
I do. Curling actually is a lot of fun to watch. I never liked the winter games growing up, but curling is kind of like mesmerizing to watch. Well,
with the summer games, I mean, that's the Winter Olympics, but summer games, our daughter has been talking a lot about gymnastics. I'm like, are you wanting to do it? Because she keeps asking about tumbling. She wants to do tumbling. And she's like, maybe. We'll start with that. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's asked me 3 times if we could do tumbling. And I said, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then,
so yeah, I think every little girl, at least when I was growing up, always wanted to do gymnastics when Olympics roll around. It was like, oh man, I wish I was an Olympian. Wish I was really good at vault or uneven bars or something. But it's just amazing what they can do.
I mean, it is, considering there was a couple of years where, when they're real little, they'll have like kids' birthday parties at gymnastics places.
Right.
And you try and do those bars. Watching them do it, I'm like, I don't know how they do this.
I don't know how they do it.
It's not easy.
I know. They're amazing. So obviously, I don't know if any Olympians are listening, but congrats
right here
to all the medal winners so far.
Someone's like, I've been listening in between things.
But yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. And I like to watch it live, which is nice because we have Peacock able to do that.
Is it all on Peacock now?
Yeah, everything. You can stream everything is live on Peacock.
See, I think, it's just so, as a kid, it was just on like TV.
Well, and like if it was, the time was different, like you might have been able to watch it live. But it was usually like a primetime thing where they would just like, okay, here is what happened. But now you can watch it in real time, all of the events. It's really cool.
I would probably check it. I always like track and field. Track and field's always like a fun one to watch and things like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I might watch. I don't know. I maybe should. Maybe this last week I'll.
Well, there's another week left. So, yeah. Anyway, so we are not going to talk about the Olympics for today's episode. We are actually going to talk about, we're going to talk about the Ministry of Magic.
I thought you were going to say, but another gold medal contender or something.
Oh, that's a good one. But another gold medal contender for land announcements is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, because we got some more information finally about the fifth land of Epic Universe. So we're going to talk about those details, and we have a little bit of news, mostly about Halloween Horror Nights. But first, we want to do some housekeeping, and we're going to mention what you should join Club 32.
Yes, if you want more content and you want to contribute to the show, Club 32 is where you would do that. And that's our private group, sort of like our own Patreon, but we just host it on our own end. And in there, you can find additional content like Cool Kids Kitchen live streams. You have music loops. There is the Clubhouse show, which is going to begin here very soon. We have the Club 32 show, which is a weekly live stream. We just hang out and chat with all the members in there. We do a lot of in-park live streams or like hotel room reviews that show you around the rooms. Like I said, music loops, you get 25% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products, a private Facebook group, and it's just a really cool place, really great place to meet new people, hang out. If you have questions about your trip, you can do that. Plus, there's meetups. We have two. We have one in one in September, and then one in January?
January.
Okay, that's awesome. So we got meetups all the time and all the stuff like that. So if you want to join there, you can go to ctmvip.com. We have monthly or yearly options, and you can even do a free trial if you want to try it out for yourself. Dip your toes in, see if it's for you, and all that. So again, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. And of course, if you're watching us versus listening to us over on YouTube, you can catch us over on at CTM Podcast on YouTube. If you want to watch versions of the show or get clips, you can check it out there. And if you're also listening to us on just the good old trusty podcast form, I imagine everyone just huddled around their living rooms, around the iPhone, as they used to do back in the day.
Gather around on the iPhone.
And the audio form, whatever platform you listen on, we greatly appreciate it. Just ask you please leave us a review and help us continue to grow the show. And so
all right.
Please subscribe and do that. That would be great.
Yes, thank you.
That would be like getting a gold medal.
Gold medal and subscribing.
For podcasting.
Absolutely. All right, so let's start with some news. First thing we're going to talk about is there is a new resident pass deal that came out last month.
Yes. So for $199, Florida residents can get a 2-park pass that is good until the rest of the year, which basically through December 18th, roughly is when it is. No blockout dates.
Yeah, no blackout dates.
But the question now, obviously, Universal is trying to get people to go to the parks.
Absolutely.
You don't run these deals if you're not doing that.
Right.
And I'd kind of theorized before that, especially like till now to the end of the year, you could see a dip in attendance given Epic Universe is around the corner. But
which we already talked about that would happen. That's natural.
I think it's happening to, honestly, I think it's happening to all of Orlando is part of it. Of things. But I guess a question comes into, we've had some people ask about this. Is this a good deal? Because
is it?
That's the thing. So basically, if you buy it today, there is roughly 5 months worth of the pass you can get. So it's roughly $40 a month?
About that, yeah.
Yeah. But, crunching numbers a little bit further.
So if you did want to go past Christmas, if you wanted to go into January and beyond and just do a full year, then an annual pass just makes more sense.
The lower tier one.
Yeah. Well, the lower tier one, I believe, starts at like $299.
That's what I think too. You pay a little bit more, but you get a whole other, like the rest, a whole year's worth.
Absolutely.
So you actually get more for it. Plus you get the discounts.
You did discounts. So the lowest tier, the seasonal annual pass, you don't get free parking with that. But if you were to get like power preferred, you get at least get 50% off parking.
Yeah.
Plus discounts on hotel stays and all that stuff. So it just depends on how often you're planning on coming. So if you're going to the end of the year and you're like, okay, I'm not going to go for another year or whatever, then okay, maybe the resident deal is a good one for you to do. But if you are thinking, okay, well, I'm going to come back in like 8 months after that, and like, I'll just get the annual pass and I can pay monthly.
Yeah. Well, and especially first off, especially given is a Florida rate. So basically this is for locals.
I mean, essentially, it's only Florida.
It's only Florida.
It's not Georgia.
So,
sometimes Georgia's included and stuff, but
yeah. So essentially, like, I think it's probably a better value even if you just got the lowest tier, because you're still you get way more use out of it.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty similar, and I would do that. Plus, you get the buttons and the stuff. There's perks of being an AP that you don't get with this pass. But and the thing is, with the pass, you still have to pay for parking.
Yeah, right.
So
like
even if
saying,
you went
yeah.
the lowest tier to pay for parking, like you're getting essentially paying $100 more and getting a whole year's worth of use. And like you're saying, you can pay monthly. Like you don't have to pay it all up front. You can basically be monthly payments for that.
Yeah, the only thing with the lower tiered annual passes is that they do come with blockout dates.
They do.
So this one doesn't. So if you were wanting to go around Thanksgiving, seasonal or power may not be the one for you. But if you weren't,
what I would also say, and this is just going off of I don't have sources, at least as of right now. Maybe one day I will, but I don't have sources as of now. But I'm assuming here, if you're an annual pass holder, you will be privy to AP previews of Epic Universe eventually.
That's a good point.
I would assume that's something that a lot of people might be interested in. So I would say,
that's a good point.
Might do it for that on top of just being able to use the park more. So.
Yep. So lots of options if you were a floater resident.
And if you're not, then
move to Florida.
No, it's full.
Actually, we are full.
It's full.
We're completely
There's
full.
a sign up.
Okay. Next story is that the final scare house for Halloween Horror Nights 33 has been announced.
Yes. You'll be shocked that it's Universal Monsters, and this one is Eternal Bloodlines. So it says, get it caught. Get it? It says,
get it caught.
Get it caught. Apparently I'm British now. Get caught in an epic battle as Saskia Van Helsing and the Bride of Frankenstein go up against Dracula's daughter and her monstrous mavens, She-Wolf and Anck-su-namun.
Anck-su-namun.
Yep. Exactly
Maybe.
that.
Okay.
Which seems to be that it's all like daughters.
It's the ladies.
Yeah.
So
So
the lady monsters. So
I guess you have a lady squad of monsters.
absolutely.
I don't
It'll still probably be terrifying. Anytime they do Universal Monster stuff, it's pretty scary for me. Like it is.
I didn't do. See, the Universal Monsters house last year was like insanely long line, so I didn't get to do that. So I didn't get to check out the house. But.
Yeah, that one was good. They did a Monster House the year before, I believe. I think so. But anytime they do, like I said, anytime they do Universal Monster stuff, I'm intrigued. So this should be good. And this is the last one that they have announced. So all 10 have been announced. And we might do like a preview to Halloween Horror Nights in an episode coming up soon. I'm not sure.
I think we should.
You think we should? Okay.
I think we should, yeah.
So anyway,
if you do like a prep guide, if you've never been,
guide.
here's what you could do, things like that.
Yeah. So, all right. We have some Scare Zone news. So that all of them, I think, except for one, has been teased. But all 5 Scare Zones have been announced, and we can kind of tell you about them from what Universal has told us, which is not much.
Yeah, but we won't tease you.
No.
Unlike Universal, they like to tease.
Oh, they do like to tease.
They like to tease.
They like to tease.
I don't like being teased personally.
Okay. Yeah, you don't.
Nor would I do that to you guys.
Aww.
I say that, but I probably would. Okay, first one we can talk about is Torture Fair.
Mm-hmm.
It says, come one, come all to the Renaissance Fair with the devious theme of medieval torture. Brave the gloriously gory homemade torture devices till you're put out of your misery. Not gonna lie, that sounds kind of terrifying.
Yikes.
Especially if you've ever looked into like medieval torture devices. No, thank you.
That's pretty scary.
If you want to ruin your night, just go Google search medieval torture devices and you'll be like, why are people like this? And you're like, yeah, they used to just... so this has the potential to be... at the very least,
you
you're
mean the potential?
It does have the potential to be. And I feel like a haunted Renaissance fair is kind of like... I like this theme. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. The second one we have information for is called Swamp of the Undead. And it says, in backwaters, Louisiana, you unwittingly wander onto private property where you're swamped by zombies born from the bodies of other trespassers who were killed and dumped in a nearby bog. Yowzers.
I thought they were going to say the scary part was you just in the backwaters of Louisiana trying to understand people.
Wow, Jared.
You're like, I'm right here. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like,
I gotta say, I'm not gonna lie though. Like, they have pretty thick accents if you're not from the area.
Oh,
I have a hard time with that.
One time was a friend of mine. We were with his family, and I think we were technically in Alabama, and pull up, and they asked for, this is before you had phones, for like directions, and asked for directions. And this guy started talking, and it sounded like the water boy coach, where he's just like, oh God, like it sounded like, and I was like, I have zero clue what this guy is saying. I know some people from Louisiana, they'll say like, yeah, if you get in certain parts, like it can be very rough to try and understand. So,
right.
I mean, you could just do that alone. Like you get dropped into a field and you're trying to get out of there.
I mean, zombies are pretty scary.
But, especially ones that are dumped in a nearby bog.
Right.
What's technically a bog?
I don't know, like swampy.
I feel like it's like a swampy field.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm already scared.
What's the next one?
Next one is duality of fear. It says, as soon as you enter Halloween Horror Nights, you must choose a path: the visceral horror of sinister or the unearthly terror of surreal.
Yeah. Now, this is likely going to be the first scare zone you go through as you go through the park, because it says as you enter.
So you probably either go straight or go right.
Right. Yep.
Right when you get up there. Yeah.
Yep. So that's where it'll be.
So many you can make choices right off the bat.
So many choices.
You better be ready to make choices.
The next one is Demon Queens, and that is get caught in an otherworldly hellscape ripped from the darkest corners of your mind, where 4 merciless queens loyal to surreal rule. So obviously we just talked about sinister and surreal of that third scare zone. So I'm guessing this one is going to be connected to the duality of fear one.
I don't think there's going to be anything to connecting them. I think it's a coincidence.
They just said it.
I think it's a coincidence.
Okay.
And when I see Sinister, I just think of Dr. Sinister from the comics. It's a Marvel comic character. It is not him, I'm sure, but I immediately in my head I just have him in mind, and it's not.
Yeah. Well, with this one, the duality of fear being the first one as you enter, that's usually kind of like right across from Despicable Me and Minion Villain Con.
Yeah.
It'll be right there. That'll be the duality of fear one. And I think if I had to guess, Demon Queens would probably be in the Beverly Hills area.
Makes sense. That's where I would put Demon Queens.
And then the Swamp of the Undead. There's already stuff up. By the way, there's already stuff about the scare house or scare zones up. Like they've already started setting up for that. So the Swamp of the Undead is going to go right in front of Cafe La Bamba.
Yes.
In Central Park area. Torture Fair, again, if I had to guess, would probably be right in front of the Cars, San Francisco area.
I was thinking that would make sense.
Yeah. And then the fifth one, which we don't really know much about because they are just teasing it. It's called what?
Enter the Bloom House or Blumhouse.
Blumhouse. Yeah. So we don't have details about it, but I'm guessing that one is going to go in New York. Again, I'm just guessing, but I'm just.
I mean, the areas they set them up. It's just which ones are going to go where.
Yeah. And Blumhouse is a property they've used in the past a lot. They've had scare houses about Blumhouse. They had like that 2-1, some of the like black phone. Is it Black Phone? Something like that. But they've done a couple things with Blumhouse in the past. So we'll get more information later. I think what happened though is they started putting up the scare zone stuff before they announced it. And so they had to do like Blumhouse is coming kind of thing because they weren't supposed to unveil that yet.
Right.
So I was like, oh, what is this? So anyway.
I'm just glad there's no sign of Chucky this year.
So there is a Chucky popcorn bucket?
Yeah, but at least he's not like.
But there's no house.
I never liked it. I mean, not that I don't like horror movies, but especially Chucky, I never was a fan. Like, wouldn't you just punt him?
I mean, no. Child's play, man.
It's like the movie Scream. It's like he's just got a knife. Like there's other things you can use, but anyways.
Okay.
I digress.
Along with the Last House and the scare zones being announced, we also have an announcement of Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus, and that is the stage show at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes, so this is performed at the Fear Factor stage, which if you don't know where that's at, that's basically right next to Diagon Alley. Tucked
in the back.
Way back there. This is the third iteration of Nightmare Fuel. We've also had Wildfire and Revenge Dream. That's what I called my band. Universal says, quote, step right up to a dark circus, a new nightmare that carries with it a sinister curse. It's a thrilling spectacle of pyro and aerialists.
Yeah, it's just a different form of the same kind of show.
Yeah.
If you want to go back and listen to our review of Halloween Horror Nights from last year or even 2 years ago, I did see, I can't remember, I think it was Revenge Dream. I saw it last year and it was something.
I've never seen any of these shows.
Yeah.
I would like to see a little bit of one. I just want to say right now, I'm proud of myself. I pronounced aerialists.
You did.
Correctly.
You did. Was that a tricky one for you?
I wasn't sure. It's one of those before I say it, I'm like, we'll see how it goes. But my tongue, it got on board.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much all of the information from Halloween Horror Nights that'll probably come out until it starts. We'll get a little bit more about the Blumhouse Scare Zone, but merchandise will be coming out soon. More merchandise will be coming out soon for that. The tribute store is going to be opening at the end of August, and then we were actually going to do a Unmask the Horror tour in a couple weeks. So we'll be talking about that on the next episode. So yeah, Halloween Horror Nights Central.
I mean, yes, it has become. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. This is the first year we will be able to do it together.
I know. I'm so happy. And our friend Susan.
True.
She's third wheeling. She's like, can I tag along? I'm like, absolutely.
Just another person to stick in front of you.
This is Jared.
You go first.
Right. That is how you.
It's not sure included. It's just you go up there. It's like if you're in a battle, like you absorb that you go, and then
Right. Absolutely.
Love you, Susan.
Last bit of news we're going to talk about is that the Passholder Appreciation Days that start August 15th, we have some more information about what we can expect because there's a lot.
There's
a lot, and I want to talk about.
Yes. So we have 2 AP exclusive buttons. The first one being a Back to the Future themed one.
Woohoo!
Which
Woohoo.
I'm happy about as well. Jamie's favorite movie. It's one of my favorites. This is available August 15th through the 31st. And then Passholder Nights are back, and these are August 16th and 17th, and it's only pass holders that are pre-registered can enjoy the parks after hours, and it's 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
7 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's
which
a long time.
we are signed up for, right?
We are signed up for the 17th. So we will be going. I don't know how long we'll stay. We've never done these before. So yeah, we're gonna give it a shot and review it basically. But we do have our express pass. It kicks in at 4.
Mm-hmm. So
we might do Islands maybe first.
Yeah.
Go over there and then hop over to Universal Studios Florida, which last year the Passholder Nights was at Islands. And then they switched it.
Yeah.
So I probably would have liked to have had it at Islands so we could maybe ride Hagrid's.
That's probably why they didn't put it at Islands.
You think so?
Probably.
That's
if I were to guess, that would probably be why.
But anyway, so we will be reviewing that as well.
Yes. There's also exclusive menu items at the parks and at the hotels that you can check out. Passholder exclusive Coca-Cola Freestyle Souvenir Cup. You have to pay for that, by the way, but
yes,
you can get it. A special park entrance at Islands of Adventure. You can save 30% on Express Pass if you want to get that. You can save up to 45% off hotel rooms on Sunday through Thursday stays, and an additional 10% off if you use mobile ordering on the app if you're in the park. Which that's nice because you also get an AP discount if you're an AP holder as well.
So it's an additional 10, and they say that because we already get food discounts, but like seasonal pass holders don't.
Right.
So they would just get 10.
Yeah. Which one thing I do like about AP, I mean, the thing that if you've ever been to Disney, you don't get discounts on like quick service or snacks
unless it's a special thing
or Starbucks. Yep. I mean, Universal, you get discounts at the Starbucks, you get it at quick service, you get it in the hotels, like you get it everywhere.
And always ask. Always ask. The worst they can say is no.
Well, that's the thing about Universal. Whether you're at the hotel, you still get it when you get like quick service there. Like there hasn't been a place that I can recall that you've never gotten an AP discount.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I really do appreciate about being an AP holder.
Yes.
Let's see here. Save 50% off of personalization services for merch. This would probably be mostly about Harry Potter, if I were to guess.
Like personalizing your wand or a robe or something. Yeah.
I like me a good old personalized robe.
Jared Lee, robe of Jared.
In Florida in the summer.
Just only in January.
That robe would be gross.
Yeah. That's why they did a celebration of Harry Potter in January every year. because it was cold enough to wear the robes.
That's the only thing. Yeah, because if it's in the middle of summer, they'd be like, "Sir, you're disgusting." They'd be like, "You're the ones that sold it to me. I don't know what you want me to do."
This is wool. I'm just kidding. No, it's not.
Makes you sweat more.
Yeah.
You also get 30% off of Universal Escape Room, which I think we are going to take advantage of because we've never done this, and they have a Back to the Future themed one.
Yeah. So this is the perfect opportunity for us to do it. We get the discount, and we can go. We're not toting our children with us, so it's just him and I.
And I've actually never done an escape room.
I've done one long time ago, but I love them.
When did you do one?
Oh gosh, I think it was before I met you.
Oh.
It's probably before I met you.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they're fun. Again, they were different. But yeah, it was like 15 years ago, so it was before Jared.
I see how it is.
I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, we do want to do it, and we will probably get to it either may do it on this trip or may wait until we do a Halloween Horror Nights trip. So we'll see. We shall see.
We'll figure that one out. You also get 35% off of the Color Vision Annual Pass photo package, which now can you add a discount to your annual pass?
I am actually going to ask about that. I'm pretty sure you can.
Because we talked about adding, we don't have it on ours. We talked about doing that.
You have to, you can't just like attach it to your annual pass when you buy it. When you go to buy it, it's like a separate transaction or whatever.
Yeah.
And it depends on when you buy it. Sometimes they'll run deals where you can get a really good deal on it in like Black Friday. So people will do it then.
That's true.
But yeah, so I mean, we can check it out and see how much it is. And
I wonder if they're going to add more of those photographers around, especially with like Epic Universe, where it's like it's not something that I've thought about getting much because really when you're in the parks, I mean, obviously ride photos.
I do want ride photos,
but it's like they have a couple of people when you first walk in, but other than that, they don't have like photographers set up like Disney does. I will say Disney does a good job with that of like having PhotoPass photographers basically all over the place.
Yeah.
So I've often wondered if Universal did that. I think I would probably buy that package just because it's like, oh, I can get my picture taken in front of, the dragon or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for sure.
And the last couple ones we have is early admission to Volcano Bay for seasonal and power pass holders and 10% discount on premium seating and cabana rentals.
Yeah. Big stuff happening in Appreciation Days.
That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
It really is. I'm excited. Yeah, I like the button and then the fact that they're going to have two different types. And then have they said what the second one is going to be?
Not yet.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. But we appreciate your appreciation, Universal.
Appreciate it. Yes.
Appreciate your appreciation.
Agreed.
Yeah.
There we go.
Anyway, so, okay. That's it for the news we're going to talk about today. We're going to move on to the main part of the episode, which is talking about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic. So this was announced on July 31st.
Yeah, it was Harry Potter's birthday.
Harry Potter's birthday.
Which is also my brother's birthday, and he's not a wizard.
He's not a wizard, or is he?
Yeah. He's tried.
Well, we have seen the details of the other four lands, and this one is the final one. And really, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like it was one of the most mysterious ones. It was the one we didn't have as much information about.
It was the one they were the most tight-lipped about.
Yeah.
I mean, they had said it was Ministry of Magic, but there was no details, especially for the ride, which when we talk about that is interesting. But yeah, there was a lot of rumors and all that stuff. But yeah, that was the one they were the most tight-lipped about for sure. So just FYI for everybody listening, I'm going to read most of the show notes because Jared knows a lot about Epic Universe, and I'm just going to let him fill in all the information that I don't have listed. Otherwise, I will never talk. So it's fun when there's
I'm gonna say
random information I know. I'm like, oh, I can just spout it out.
Right. So I'm going to go ahead. If you want to interject anytime, just do it. Just go ahead. Hey, I know this.
Will do.
Sound good? Okay.
Will do.
All right. So as you can maybe remember about the other four lands, is the lands are connected by portals. So you're coming from Celestial Park, and there's portals to each of the other lands. And this portal is a hand holding a wand, which is, I was like, oh, that must be Harry Potter. Very good.
Pretty safe assumption. Yep. I mean, they never said it, but once you saw the hand with the wand, you're like, well, clearly that's Transformers.
Clearly. So after you enter the portal, you enter 1920s Paris, and it's a little area called Place Cachet?
You took French, not me. I'll leave that one to you. I mean, they have what do they call it? The Saint Denis.
What's that?
The structure that you're supposed to walk through. I think that's what I think.
Phoenix something Phoenix.
Yeah, but there's an actual. Anyway, it's the replica of an actual thing in Paris.
Oh, okay, okay. Again, I'm learning more about this, but it's like Place Cachet. I can't pronounce it. I'm so sorry, but this is a place for witches and wizards of the time. The streets are lined with shops, cafes, and more. And the inspiration of the land came directly from the Fantastic Beasts movie. Or movies, sorry, because there were two. Even visiting...
There were three.
There were three?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that shows how much I know about Fantastic Beasts.
They didn't do that well, movie-wise, especially compared to the first one.
Three. So I know from I want to say it's the last two movies, they actually visited the movie sets to learn about as much detail as possible to put in the lands, which is pretty cool. And these buildings are really tall. And will you talk more about that?
So the shortest building in this land is bigger than the tallest building in Diagon Alley. So they have built this entire area to scale. So typically in theme parks they use, I don't know how many people are aware of called like forced perspective. So it's from your angles that makes things look bigger. For instance, Cinderella's castle in Magic Kingdom is forced perspective to look bigger.
Right.
In terms of they even make the bricks will get smaller as it goes up. Like it's trying to give you the illusion that things are bigger. They will still be doing that in this land, but they have built all the buildings in here to actual scale. So they're not trying to make it look bigger. It's just bigger.
Okay.
It's that big. So
that's awesome.
It's a really big place.
Okay. And I have more questions about the Paris 1920s thing in a minute. But
okay.
So in this area, you're going to find a few things. You're going to find Café L'Air de la Serene. And this is just like a restaurant, basically. It says, the streets of Wizarding Paris are home to delightful cafes, including Café L'Air de la Serene. Dine inside or outside as you enjoy French baked goods, sandwiches, plats de jour, and desserts. You can quench your thirst with butterbeer, along with a variety of non-alcoholic and alcoholic drinks, including beer, cocktails, and French wines. Fun fact, towering Chaud à la crème is a basically a huge towering dessert display of almost 2,000 decorative individual cream puffs. It's going to be in here.
That sounds pretty cool.
I'm like, okay. So is this the main place to eat here?
So not all the places that there's going to be to eat, they didn't list off. So there is another restaurant in this land because there's one where you go through this alleyway that takes you to, and I believe that one is a sit down, perhaps. I can't quite remember, but they didn't say anything about that one. So there's other details in this land that they haven't come out with yet. But this is a quick service restaurant.
Okay.
This is also one where it doesn't have many tables, but you can sit outside like you're sitting on a sidewalk cafe in Paris.
Which I'm sure everybody listening can picture what we're talking about.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll have this in the background to show you. But it's like, I think it looks like there's like 8 tables set up with like maybe 2 per thing. So it's not going to be a lot of tables outside. Now, inside this restaurant looks really big, very tall ceilings. But it is a quick service. It's not a table service restaurant. So, but it sounds really good. Again, most people enjoy French food. If you go to World Showcase, France is one of the most popular pavilions because of the food.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Another thing in this area, you're going to find Cosme Acajor Baguettes Magique.
Magic baguettes.
No. It's a wizard. Witches and wizards will find some of the finest wands in the world, designed by esteemed artisan wand maker Cosme Acajor. Acajor's unique approach to wand lore, couture influence, and utilization of distinct wand cores results in an outcome that is not a wand, but a work of art. Apparently, it's like more intricate designs, fancier than like Ollivanders.
It's the French version of wands.
French
they always
version
make
of
it a
wands.
little fancier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it's Ollivanders.
Yeah.
Wand shop. You can go in there and.
Yeah, it's a version of it, but it's supposed to be a little bit more.
They do have a chandelier that is supposed to be made of. I can't remember how many, but it's a bunch of glass wands.
Yeah.
I want to say 2,000
so
or something
cool.
like that. It's
Oh
a
my
bunch
gosh.
of them. I don't know if it's 2,000, but
That's crazy. But anyway, this in the lane as well. And then there's going to be interactive wand experiences, just like you would have in Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade. But there's going to be new different kind of things, and Fantastic Beasts will be incorporated in this. So you'll see a lot of those little tiny beasts.
Now, one thing that I find interesting, which this could be about that, because they're supposed to be upgrading all the wand experiences in all of the Wizarding Worlds, including Diagon Alley, Hogsmeade, and I'm assuming, coming into Epic Universe. Mm-hmm. So there's a live stream, I believe it's September 7th, that is specifically about the Wizarding World, like theme park lands. Now, I had theorized maybe that's when they were going to do this announcement. Obviously, that's not the case. So I'm wondering if that live stream is about these interactive wand experiences that are getting an upgrade and maybe more details about this land. Because it is specifically about the theme parks is what this live stream's about. And it's being put on by Universal Experience, the theme park division.
Sure.
I don't know what it means by the upgraded experiences, but that is something that is supposed to happen. So I'm assuming they're going to upgrade the other lands to be up with whatever they're doing with Epic Universe. They'll do in the other ones as well.
Okay. Another thing you can find is a butterbeer cart, and it's a beer à beurre.
I was going to say they say
beer à beurre, which is beer of butter. That's basically what that means.
I mean, it looks just like the ones in the other parks. Plus, you can still
but
get...
it says beer à beurre on the side.
Well, plus, you can still get the butter beer in restaurants and the quick service. So, they're going to serve it all over the place. But at least, I would assume there's going to be more than one. But they did show one butterbeer cart.
Yeah. So, basically, you have different, alleys and different side streets you can go down in this whole Paris area. But in the center, you're going to find Le Cirque Arcanus. This is an attempt to bring Le Cirque Arcanus back to its former glory. Ringmaster Skender has stolen Newt Scamander's. I don't know these movies.
I think he's the main character from the...
Okay, thank you. Again, I haven't seen these movies.
Yeah.
Suitcase, which contains fantastic beasts from around the globe. It's up to circus employee Gwynlyn to rescue the creatures in this spectacular mix of live performers, amazing puppetry, dazzling special effects, and more. And it looks like it's going to be standing room.
I saw benches in the concept art.
You saw benches.
So it looks...
there'll be benches.
Now, I don't know if the whole thing will be benches, but it did have seating in the concept art.
Okay. And guests can explore the strange and unusual acts of Le Cirque as they stroll past many of the sideshow booths on their way to the main stage. So that'll be part of it as well. I don't know. Okay, what's the scale of this? How big is this?
It'll be a pretty big show. So in the... movies, my understanding is it's much like when you go inside of the TARDIS, it's way bigger inside than it seems like it's using magic. You step into it and it's it could be like a whole giant room versus the size of it.
Right.
So this is supposed to be the illusion. It's a small tent that is this giant tent you walk into. So it's a pretty big room or an area where they're doing this. Now, I don't know, again, I'm not going to speak to as if I know a lot about Fantastic Beasts, but it's supposed to be, I mean, a stage show on the level, my understanding is what they're doing in the How to Train Your Dragon Land, which that is an existing show you can see over in China as well. So it's supposed to be, I mean, this is the second one they're doing on I would almost say a Broadway level type show. So given in the land, you have this and then the main ride. I mean, you have two attractions. This is one of them, but not a lot of details, but it seems like a really cool idea. There hasn't been an actual stage show in any of the Wizarding Worlds. I mean, there's shows, but it's just the quick show they do over in Diagon Alley. So this
they have that. Well, they have the frog, frog choir,
but none of them
stuff.
are you go into a building,
Correct.
An actual show.
Right.
So this would be the first one of those.
Okay. Well, I'll be interested to find out more about that because that sounds interesting.
Agreed.
So I would call that the first attraction of the land, and the second one, or the main one, if you will, and will be the thing that people want to go to when they go to this land, is Harry Potter and the Battle of the Ministry.
I mean, this is the one they were the most tight. They were very tight-lipped about this.
Yes.
And if you looked at the show building for this, it's almost the size of the entire land itself.
It's huge.
That was one of the first, looking at the construction pictures, there was rumors for a while that maybe this was two rides because it was so big that maybe it was half and half. But no, it is all dedicated to this ride. And if you look at the aerial views on the construction videos that I've been doing over at Cap the Magic on YouTube, it is a massive building.
Wow. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, here is kind of the breakdown a little bit. So You're going to travel by Metro Flu from Paris to the British Ministry of Magic.
First off, right there. Okay. Stop right there.
All right, we're stopping.
I am so if you watch the movies, the Flu Network is where you go into like a fireplace thing and you get like transported somewhere.
Yeah.
So they literally are saying in this, to enter the ride, like you know how you normally go in and it says express pass or regular and you go in there, like to enter just into the queue, you go through the Flute Network with animation of the green flames taking you in. Now, they didn't say how this was going to work. It has to be something quick.
You just have to walk. It's just going to be a walk through.
But that right there was like, what? Like they're doing that for just getting into the queue.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
So I'm very curious as to how they're going to do that.
Right.
Because they said in the video that they worked with producers or people from the movies to make this effect work.
Oh, okay.
So it's supposed to look very realistic, or at least like the movies.
Okay. All right. Well, it says travel by Metro Flu from Paris to the British Ministry of Magic, where Dolores Umbridge, our favorite pink-wearing cat-loving...
She reminded me of so many teachers I had in those movies. I was just like, you know what, lady?
Is about to stand trial. Board a lift and join Harry, Ron, and Hermione as you journey deep into the Ministry's many departments. Thrilling adventure, fantastic beasts, and unexplored mystery await in Harry Potter and the Battle of Mystery. Okay, so here's more information about this.
Well, hold on. I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
So people may be like, wait a minute. So the land is based after Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, the setting. Yeah.
Paris, 1920s.
Right.
The ride is transporting you to 1990s Ministry of Magic, and you're going to be doing the ride with Harry Potter, Ron, and Hermione.
Yeah. Why did they do this?
Well, they did this because those characters are still the most popular.
Okay.
The Fantastic Beasts movies. Now, my understanding from what I've heard is they originally were going to do the ride after Fantastic Beasts, but those movies did not do that. Didn't do very well.
Okay.
So obviously, people still are interested in the original Harry Potter movies, given the titular character. Okay. Well, I'll let you go into more description, but. So that was just saying people may be like, wait a minute. But yeah, so the ride takes place in the 90s. The land is in the 1920s. We'll figure out how they're going to make this work.
Yeah. Okay, so here's more information about the ride. Shortly after the Battle of Hogwarts, order has been restored in the Ministry of Magic, and Lord Voldemort's followers are being held accountable for their crimes. One such accused is none other than Umbridge herself, and you have arrived on the crucial day of her trial. You board a lift to the courtroom and notice that Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in attendance, alongside a new character, Higgledy, I think, Umbridge's former house elf, who she did not treat very well. Along the way, we witnessed Umbridge wriggle free of Ministry control with the help of Death Eaters Yaxley, Caro, and McNair. Her stated mission: repair a broken time turner in the Department of Mysteries and restore Voldemort's reign. We're recruited by Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Higgledy to capture her and stop her from escaping. And then we chase her through the Ministry and have a whirlwind adventure. So she is wanting to get the time turner, and they have to stop her from doing that.
Yes, which I'm assuming maybe you use a time turner to go into the 1920s Ministry of Magic. I don't know the specifics how they're going to make it work, but that is the idea with this. Yeah, and this ride is going to be an elevator, which was the rumor, an elevator system. So it's like...
But it's omnidirectional.
Right, so it's going to be you're going up and down, side to side. Like that was... Now, there's been different... The rumors have been interesting of the different variations of this ride system. There were some rumors that it was going to actually use cables to do this. My understanding, and I believe Alicia Stella had reported about this, is they're using basically the same ride vehicles from Spider-Man and Transformers, the same company, because those vehicles can actually go higher and lower than they do in those rides. Okay. So it's that same type of thing, but it's going to go much higher and be obviously new tech because it's like a newer version of all this, but it's those same type of ride vehicles for this ride. But the ride vehicles themselves look closer to like Tower of Terror.
I was going to say they do, but they also are much bigger.
They are bigger. They're very big. I mean, they probably look like they can fit 12 per vehicle, it looks like.
There's a couple of things too. They did show a clip of the Death Eater animatronic.
Oh my goodness.
Which looks really cool.
The animatronics in this entire park are wild. They showed that thing that they are so fluid and lifelike.
Yeah.
And now that's the thing about Epic Universe is Universal has taken a lot of flack over the years for basically being all screen based.
Right.
A lot of that is due to the fact they don't have the space. And
there will be screens in this one too.
There will be some, but they are using much more. Like when you're talking about Dark Universe, when you're talking about, Ministry of Magic, they're there's still going to be some screens,
right?
But they're utilizing way more animatronics and like live set pieces versus just the screens themselves.
Right. That's true. Fun fact about this ride is that both the queue and attraction spaces for Battle of Ministry are covered by tiles. The Metroflu alone has over 80,000 subway tiles, and the British Ministry of Magic spaces have over 125,000 of the iconic Ministry tiles in 5 colors.
Yes.
Lots of tiles.
And if you look at the concept art, the queue of this ride is literally the Ministry of Magic lobby that you see in the movies.
It's so cool.
And it looks massive.
So they have like a banner that says like Umbridge to stand trial or whatever. Are they going to have it change?
It looks like it is. It's like they have in the
Okay.
queue where some of the newspapers change and stuff like that. And it also looks like above there's like the storming clouds that were in there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that tech could be from projection technology. Like,
oh my gosh, this is so amazing.
I mean, that's the thing is like they're taking like they've done in the other Wizarding Worlds, aspects from the movies that and just putting you into them, which I think is what Universal has figured out that I've been very critical of Disney, and I don't think that they have lately figured it out, is Universal is just about immersing you into the worlds that you know and making it that simple. Like, they're literally just immersing you into Ministry of Magic, and we're like, okay, they're going to get there via Time Turner and blah. There you go. The specifics don't really matter as much. You're like, wow, this is really cool. Versus, I think Disney is caught many times trying to extend a story, and I think at the end of the day, people mostly want to be immersed into the stuff that they've seen from the movies and shows or whatever. And I think this is where Universal gets it right for that reason. And just the scale, the scale of this is massive. Now, given how big this show building is, I'm very curious to how long this ride is.
They didn't say,
but it seems like it'll be a very in-depth ride. I mean, I know some people are very like, oh, a third Harry Potter land. I get that. But I feel like if this ride is at the level I think it could be, this will make sense as to why there's only basically one ride in this land. That's been another criticism. There's only one ride. It was like, okay, well, maybe I think they took all the money that would have gone to 3 different rides and put it into one. And perhaps when you're looking at, how Rise of the Resistance is, when it's working, it's a very high level ride. You're like, wow, that's a lot. I feel like this has the potential to basically be a souped up better version of Rise of the Resistance in that way.
Right. Diagon Alley is only one ride.
It's true.
So
that's true.
Okay, so that's basically all we know about the land. At least that's all I know. I know Jared knows a bunch of the little things here and there. Is there anything that you want to mention about the land that you think we should know and that wasn't mentioned?
Well, there'll be a lot of shops. I mean, all this stuff. There's going to be tons of shops. There's going to be plenty of places to do interactive stuff with the wands. There's also alleyways, much like Nocturne Alley. There's going to be a lot of those interweaving in different spots like that. I mean, you can look at the construction photos and see that. In terms of details, this is the land we probably know the least about.
Yeah.
But there will be, there's a Quidditch shop there as well next to it. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more shops, a lot of more little quick service areas also. But that's the gist of it. It's a very ambitiously, it's huge.
Yeah.
Now, again, I think the thing that will make or break this land in terms of, I think first off, 1920s Paris, it's sort of like sure, it's Fantastic Beasts, but it's almost an excuse to be like, let's throw a 1920s Paris for foods and ambiance. That's a cool idea in and of itself. Then the ride, we're just going to do, it's Harry Potter, the characters you already know and love.
Yeah.
So doing it that way. I think the success of this land will probably hinge on that ride.
Yeah.
Of how, if it's a ride that is just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Obviously, I think people are going to be in here regardless, but if it's just an okay ride, I think a lot of people will probably look at this as like a underwhelming land. But if that ride is successful, obviously it'll hinge on that. Plus, there are expansion paths. They will put another ride in this land.
Right.
I think all of the lands except for How to Train Your Dragon have expansion paths, which they will probably start utilizing sooner rather than later. So, but yeah, I think that's all the details. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I'm curious what they're going to announce in that live stream, which whatever they do announce, we'll talk about on here. But that they went over a lot of it in the video, obviously giving us a lot more details on what we knew.
Yeah.
But I am curious as to how that Flu Network effect is going to work, and just really how they tie in that story is kind of interesting.
Yeah. And they did add the AR effects to the preview center model.
They did.
So if you are going to Universal here sometime soon, you'll be able to see that in motion now. Because when we went, they didn't have Universal they didn't have Harry Potter, or maybe that was the only one they didn't have.
I think that was the only one that they didn't have any animation for.
Yeah, because they still hadn't announced it yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited for this land. This is not the one I'm most excited for. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it'll be, like you said. I think it'll draw people in because of the ride, because it's Harry Potter. I think hopefully they'll have enough detail in the Paris streets of Paris and the architecture and all of that stuff and all the interactiveness of the wands and all that stuff. I think it could be. I think it could be really great. I think it could be really great, especially. Even if you haven't seen Fantastic Beasts, I think you could still probably appreciate it.
Well, that's how they do all these lands. I mean,
right.
you can still appreciate in the scale of the Wizarding World, the other ones. So
true.
I think they will probably recognize as well. I mean, the Fantastic Beasts were not a huge success.
Right.
But it's like, okay, you can still loosely, 1920s Paris have a magical aspect to it. Like that's still something that's popular amongst people.
Sure.
And let's be honest, if you have food and drinks and stuff like that, people are going to enjoy it. So it has a lot of potential for that on that level alone.
Well, that's all we're going to talk about with the land specifically, but we do want to mention a few things we kind of learned over the last little bit. So this is going to be Epic Universe Update Corner with Jared Lee.
I should get a theme song for that. So there's a couple of things that are pretty cool. First off, there was someone had footage of this. I made a video on this on the Cap the Magic main YouTube channel, but there was basically a dragon sighting of it flying over Epic Universe, like testing like a dragon drone
from the how to train your dragon land.
Yes, which has been known. Like essentially, they've said this is going to be the case, but see it flying. Like so, it's either a dragon drone of that land or a UFO or a real life dragon. So I'm going to assume one of that.
Don't count out the UFO, man.
I'm just saying. But so that is a rumor that there will be multiple one of those, which that alone is awesome. That will be the case.
Yeah.
So that was cited. I think honestly, what's so weird about Epic Universe, it's if you haven't been down there, it is literally just like a residential area. You have a Chick-fil-A, a 7-Eleven, some shopping, and literally there is an apartment complex right on the outside of it.
Yep.
And I think a lot of this footage is coming from people that are just in those apartments.
Those apartments, yep.
Because now that everyone has a phone that shoots 4K, it's like they're going to get all this footage of stuff. And speaking of the other thing is, someone got footage from the apartments, I think, as well, of their testing the fireworks. So one thing that Universal has always lacked, they've never had a really nighttime show that you would say competes with like Happily Ever After, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they were testing. Now, it wasn't like a full show. It seemed like nobody could hear music, but it seemed like they were testing elements. And one of the things that, in my opinion, it clearly showed was a Pokemon ball, which points to another rumor that the rumor out there has been that Pokemon would replace like the Simpsons land in the studio side.
I'd be okay with that.
I would be fine with that. I don't know. It could not. Maybe it's not a Pokemon ball. But the firework literally, and I have a video up on the YouTube channel as well about this, it definitely looks like it. So that could be a thing. Either way, there's lots of different testing going on top of ride testing in Epic Universe, which is great to see. One thing, I hope it's not true, but I'm only mentioning it because of the person that said it.
Okay.
So I don't know if people are familiar with Len Testa. He owns touring plans. He's been in the theme park space for a long time.
He knows people. He knows things.
He does know people. And again, a lot of people are going to point to the fact, well, he does mostly Disney. While that's true, a lot of former Imagineers and people that used to work at Disney now work at Universal. So theoretically, he would still have people that he would know over the years. He said on his podcast that he had been hearing that Universal was gearing up to have an opening in the early part of 2025, which is what we've talked about many times, that would make sense. But that he's hearing, and he didn't say sources, he didn't say where, but he said that he's hearing that there's a land that is behind, and that now they don't have a definite opening timeline, and that this land is like it wouldn't be ready till the fall of 2025. And then they were looking at maybe doing opening without one land available,
like in phases or something.
Yeah, and how that would work. Now, I hope that's not true. I've often theorized maybe this is like Game of Thrones, where Universal's just throwing out different things that's trying to keep Disney on their toes sort of situation. Because the other rumor out there is about a bunch of people said they have scoops of saying Epic Universe is going to open earlier than anybody anticipates. So what's true and what's not, I don't know. Anytime you see one thing in the opposite way than another thing, it makes me think that people are purposely putting out just random info.
It's like Return of the Jedi.
Right. It's just, it's like information warfare in a theme park world. It's like, if Universal is trying to mess with Disney on some level, like maybe they do that. Because a lot of stuff is hinging on Epic Universe opening in 2025.
Yeah.
Not just Universal, but like a lot of people that are anticipating that extra traffic coming in. Disney probably is one that thinks that they're going to benefit from it as well. And not only mention hotels and other places like that. So I hope that's not true. And then looking at the construction photos, I can't see any land, at least from that perspective, that looks behind in that way. Okay. In terms of that timetable. I personally, hearing that information, I don't understand what you would be the thing, and you would just say this won't be ready for another year. I don't understand how you could put a definitive timeline on that. And I kind of feel like at the same time, Universal has every motivation in the world and the funding to throw money at the problem if there was a problem. Now, I'm not saying that what he's saying is wrong. Maybe there's some credence to it, but I just don't see anything to me that points out to that. And I suppose if it was true, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that it could open with just one land not open. I mean, again, we saw Galaxy's Edge opened in Hollywood Studios. Rise of the Resistance was not available.
Oh, yeah, it was not.
It didn't open for another 6 months.
That's right.
And given the way that Epic Universe is laid out in that hub fashion, each land has its own entrance portal. Let's say the land was, let's just say it was How to Train Your Dragon. You would just walk by it and it would just be not available to go through.
Right.
You could go to the other ones and then, eventually it would open up. So, again, I hope that's not true. I think we'll probably get an answer whether or not that's true probably sooner rather than later, because I've often theorized that, okay, if Universal is going to announce opening timeline, they would probably do it around D23 to kind of one-up Disney.
I'm looking forward to another kind of announcement.
Yeah.
Next week or the week after.
Yeah, so that would be my guess. So if we get an announcement then, I would say then this whole rumor isn't true. If we don't get one then, it's been a couple of weeks. I don't know. In the back of my head, I start thinking maybe that's true. If we don't get an announcement before the holidays, I think it's for sure got some credence, because they're going to want this out there marketing-wise and before the holidays, because a lot of people plan their trips, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I think we'll probably get an answer on this sooner rather than later in the next few months, whether or not this rumor has legs. I hope it doesn't. I really don't. I hope I heard it on there because you pointed it out to me and I heard that and I was just like, don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't say that. But again,
just a rumor. It
could be an internal system. It could be a riot. The thing that it could be just could be something you can't see if it is true. But we'll have to wait and see.
Who knows?
I think we'll find out sooner rather than later. But that is a rumor on that front. It's not something I like to report and say. But at the same time, there's other rumors that it's going to open earlier. So pick your rumor, I guess, and ride with it. But
I'm going to pick the opening at the early part of 2025. I'm going to
pick I wanted the AP previews in December. I've heard that one.
You never know.
So I would be okay with that one.
You never know. What I do know is that I enjoy talking about this with you.
Oh, I could talk ad nauseum about this, but yeah,
it's fun to get more information about a new park and everything.
Well, it's fun. I've never covered this since we've been doing this, like a brand new theme park opening. And especially on this level, it hasn't been open for it hasn't happened in Orlando for 20 years. So.
Now we know the basics about every land in this park, and we don't know much about Helios yet, which
I've wondered if they're going to do a whole video on Helios. Because there's a video on the main channel again. There were some leaks about Helios that hotel has its own backstory as well.
See, I'm telling you,
it's supposed to be like an alternate version of I think the 90s or something. It's got a wild story, and just how much is it going to be? I think we're talking $800 a night.
Yep.
Because I think if they did that at the same time, they would probably do in that same announcement. Because the other rumor is that there was to be a nighttime fireworks show. There's a peninsula behind it, and that Helios would have projection on it, much like Cinderella's castle. So that the hotel would be basically the hotel is the in-park castle for Epic Universe, but you can stay in it.
Okay.
And then and then you got the fountain and the projection and the fireworks. That's the rumor. So I would assume maybe
We'll
the final video they would do maybe is that. But I don't know if they'll do one on that or not.
Well, our next episode, hopefully we'll have more information about Helios or more information about when it's going to open or more information in general.
We'll have information regardless.
Information.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, well, that's it for the episode today. Again, thank you for all of your information that you have kept in that brain of yours.
You're welcome.
Throughout how long?
I have been putting videos out to relieve the pressure.
Yeah, I was going to mention he does put out construction videos about Epic Universe every so often.
And rumor videos.
Yeah. So if you want to catch those, it's on the Cap the Magic YouTube channel.
It's growing steadily.
And it's growing. Yes. So subscribe there if you haven't already. Don't forget to catch the other shows on the network. We've got the Disney Capture the Magic podcast, which is on Thursdays with Jared and I. And we have the Universal podcast you're listening to right now on Mondays. I have another episode of Trip Tales that will come out next week. And I have another one in a couple weeks for August. So we'll have 2 episodes coming out in August. If you want to be a future guest on Trip Tales, you can go to ctmtriptales.com and fill out the form at the link. And I will get back to you if your trip is something I'm interested in covering. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter if you want, or X, and TikTok. And we're Cap the Magic everywhere except for our TikTok. We're Capture the Magic. And yeah, that's all. That's all I got. That's all she wrote.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Jared, again for being here.
You're quite welcome.
And thank you, everybody, for listening or watching. And as I always like to say, we will see you in the parks.
Bye.